What's going on, everyone? So the Dallas Mavericks are actually in a very comfortable position, right? They can't take their foot off the gas, but I do think that they are in a very good position currently at this time, right? They've been winning games. They've been looking much better than they have at certain points in the season. They're currently, time of recording this video, on a 2-game win streak and sitting in the 5th seed. They're only 2 games back of the Clippers, they've had their struggles too. Now, they are also on a 2-game win streak, but they've really struggled and kind of just been around a 500 team the last month or so. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Dallas Mavericks could even potentially catch them and end up being in that 4 spot. Obviously, the 4-5 matchup, Clippers, Mavericks, which is what it's looking and shaping up to be. The Mavs are 3 games from the 9th, 10th spot. They are about 2.5 games from that 7th, 8th spot. So they're in good shape there. They are only a game ahead of the Phoenix Suns. And especially in the Western Conference, as competitive and crazy as it is, I mean, it's constantly changing daily at this point, right? One team loses, one team wins. Oh no, all of a sudden they go from the 9th to the 7th. And you're like, what is going on, right? One team goes on a 3-game losing streak and that's it. I mean, look at the Pelicans. It looked like the Pelicans were a lock for 4-5. They were like a game behind the Clippers at one point. It was looking like, the Clippers are really running the risk of falling down, and could the Clippers even drop to the 6th seed? And now you're seeing things start shaping up. Unfortunately for the Pelicans, a lot of it has been injuries. Brandon Ingram goes down because of injury. Zion, he has that finger injury. See if he returns. He missed the previous game. So Pelicans are on a 4-game losing streak, but a lot of it has just been because of bad timing and circumstances. I mean, same thing with Sacramento. They lost Malik Monk. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They had times where they were looking like, they're a lock for the 6th seed. Phoenix was having their struggles. They've been hot lately. The Lakers were having their struggles. The Lakers have been hot lately. So you have some teams that are going in one direction and other teams that are going in another. And if Dallas can continue to perform and play to the level in which that they are playing, and even winning without Luka and without Kyrie at times, they are doing everything that you were hoping to see consistently throughout the course of the season. But they've had their moments. They've had their struggles. Now, look, I still personally am not sold on Dallas winning a championship this year. Now, look, they have Luka and Kyrie. So would it be incredibly shocking if they came out the West? No, because those are 2 guys that are unbelievable and incredible. But I just think matching up against some of these other teams in the Western Conference, I see them maybe making it to the 2nd round. And then that's probably it. Although I really do Luka and the Clippers have some history, right? So that could be a really fun, really interesting matchup. So I wouldn't be shocked if they eliminated the Clippers in the 1st round and ended up moving into the 2nd round. But I didn't like how they structured their roster going into the season. I was a little disappointed. I was like, you have Kyrie, you have Luka. Even last year when they kind of fell to the out of the play-in and everything, and they kind of packed it in, I was okay with it. I was like, you know what? Matt can't really judge you, injuries, little things like that. Cool. Let's see what you do next season. You didn't really get Kyrie to win the championship this year. You got him for next year, right? When you have a full training camp, full offseason, you kind of structure the roster around them and kind of go about it the right way. And I didn't like how they did that. I didn't like the pieces that they added. I thought okay, who is their big acquisition, right? It's like, it's Grant Williams. And I get the idea. I just didn't think he was the right player. And look what happened. He ends up getting traded. However, I do think Dallas really won the trade deadline. I think Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington were huge pieces and were the kind of pieces I was hoping that they would be looking to add and build around and put around Kyrie and Luka, right? I mean, PJ Washington, don't get me wrong, he's had his hot and cold moments since coming to Dallas, but he's had some spectacular moments, and I think is going to be a really good big piece for them. He's incredibly young still. Daniel Gafford has been everything you could ask for and more for them. I mean, he has been like otherworldly good and like setting records. And I mean, so much so, Derek Lively was fantastic for Dallas. And now Derek Lively is basically the backup because Daniel Gafford has came in and been so good as like that lob threat, rebounder, shot blocker, everything. And again, he's incredibly young too. I mean, he's only 25 years old. So you have a PJ Washington who's 25. You added in a Daniel Gafford who's 25, some youth, some athleticism, some pieces, right? And, you know, you have some of the more quality pieces in like a Tim Hardaway Jr. Dante Exum has actually been pretty solid for them this year, right? They've gotten quality minutes from multiple pieces and multiple pieces that I think can really have an impact. But I just think that the Gafford and PJ Washington pickup was massive for them. And again, even though I don't believe that they realistically can contend for a championship this year, I do think now they kind of have the foundation that you needed, right? You got Luka, you got Kyrie, although we'll see. There have been reports and murmurs that Dallas might not be completely sold on Kyrie and Luka as a pairing. So we'll see. Like if Dallas loses in the first round, do they look to move Kyrie? Just thought. I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm not saying that they should do that, but it is something worth at least mentioning because it's kind of been thrown out there a couple times. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. But I think you have the foundation, right? Again, you have Kyrie, you have Luka, you have PJ, you have Gafford, you have Lively, right? You got other little nice pieces that can be foundation blocks that are young. Like a Josh Green has had great moments. Jaden Hardy has had some good moments for them. You could keep them and continue to build with them. You could use them as trade chips to kind of get other pieces that you need. I like some of the things that we've seen from Dallas, and I just think that they need to kind of continue to find players in the mold of a Daniel Gafford and a PJ Washington. And what I mean by that is that versatility, like the kind of Swiss Army knife type players that can do multiple things, that can rebound, can add a little defense, can score the basketball, right? Can kind of be skilled guys for this roster alongside Luka and Kyrie, because Luka and Kyrie are great. Although there are times and moments where they do still look clunky. And my biggest concern with Dallas still is in the playoffs, in the environment. Let's say they do play the Clippers in the first round. What does it look like with those two, game on the line, 30 seconds left, down one, right? Or even up one, or it's a tie game or whatever, right? Like the tight games where it's like usually teams hand the ball to Kyrie and go, hey, go win the game. Or teams will hand the ball to Luka and say, hey, go win the game. And Luka's kind of been the guy, right? I mean, for the most part this year, I mean, he's clearly the best player. He's clearly the number one option. He is the Dallas Mavericks, right? But he had, like, Kyrie's hit some big shots. He's closed down the stretch at times too. But Luka's the guy that kind of, hey, here's the ball, go win us the game. But is there that kind of conflict? Is that a little clash, right? If Luka loses a game, or say Kyrie loses a game on a missed field goal or something, does next time you get in that position, because again, it's the playoffs, the likelihood of that happening in a tight game regularly is very high because it's the playoffs, right? So, what happens down the stretch in those tight games where, you need one of these guys to basically take over? Does Kyrie get phased out and it become a problem? Does Luka get phased out and it becomes a problem? Not saying it will, but I'm not saying it won't either. I'm still personally not super sold on Luka and Kyrie as the proper pairing to lead you to a championship. I'm still not even sold with Luka playing alongside another star. He's still incredibly high usage. Kyrie's playing off the ball more. Again, there are moments where it looks great and it looks brilliant. But then there's moments where it looks terrible. And it looks clunky, and it looks like two guys that don't really know how to play with each other at times, or two guys that are used to being on ball heavily and now they're not, right? Or one of them isn't. And so again, I just does Luka need a very specific guy, right? Like I've talked about a Kevin Durant, right? Somebody that doesn't need the ball in his hands heavily to be a constant threat, but also can get you 25 on incredible efficiency. So Luka could still be heavily on ball. Luka could still get his shots, but you could still get, 25 plus a game on a nightly basis and dominate various matchups because a guy like a Kevin Durant can just, get you 25, 30 points on 10 shots. Like it's a completely different situation. So I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this shapes up. Again, they have very talented pieces. They definitely have some pieces that can really kind of lead them to the promised land. But to me, I just don't know if they have enough pieces against some of these top teams. I think it really, like, the guys that you're going to be counting on heavily is Kyrie, Luka, probably Tim Hardaway Jr., PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford. Like, that's your 5 best players, right? Or at least the 5 guys that you're going to count on more times than not, that you're going to be expecting to have bigger games more times than not. And then you have, Derek Lively, but he's young, rookie. Like, how much can you rely on him in the playoffs and the postseason? How much are you going to even play him times in the playoffs and the postseason? Dante Exum, like I said, has had good moments for them, but what does that look like in the playoffs? Same thing with Green and all these guys, right? Like, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that, like, hey, yeah, Dallas, they're coming. They're going to be great. Do you think they can win a championship? Do you think no? Still about a year or so away. They still need to get a couple pieces. Again, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.